Hey guys, this is take two. I am not feeling it at all. I want to get this done and over with. This stuff is, I felt so great the last 2 days. They say once you stop with all the like alcohol and drinking and everything of the world, you get spiritually attacked. And I really feel like that's what had been happening up until the last couple days because I've just felt so good. And then I'm like having to relive all this stuff and it's not been easy because the Lord, I feel like He's just delivered me off of, I don't know if it's everything or what, but I just have felt so good the last couple days because of Him and all because of Him, because He's like, I don't know if all my chains are broken or almost all my chains are broken or what it is. I'm just feeling so good these last few days. But bringing all this up is not easy, all the emotions and stuff. So I just want to get it out and over with. But I just hope that it helps somebody. If there's, that He had said it, and I just hope that whatever He's going to do with it blesses somebody, helps somebody. I also wanted to say, I don't want to come off like I'm at all blaming only my ex-husband for all the issues in our marriage, because at the end of the day, it takes two. And I definitely had my faults in it and things that were going on with me, which I'll kind of talk about. Once you're in an unhealthy relationship, you're kind of in the dance with them. So you're adding to the unhealthiness. I found out I wanted to get help. He didn't want to get help. I got out. But, some people stay in. I mean, you're adding, you're in it, even though you may be being abused, but if you have kids, they're enduring that stuff too. So you're still adding to the unhealthiness, if that makes sense. It's kind of what I came into the realization of. A little bit about my mom too. I feel like because I was able to forgive both of them, even though they never said sorry or admitted that they did anything wrong, since I admitted my wrongs and I truly forgave them, even though they didn't say sorry, I feel like that's why the Lord was easy on me and able to forgive me for all my wrongdoings and all my sins, because I was able to forgive other people, even when they didn't even feel like they did anything to me. When my mom didn't talk to me, I also didn't talk to her. And then also, there was a time I helped her move, and I was helping her move, and she had blamed me for stealing some of her stuff when I had helped her move. And then she would call me and leave me these like 5-minute messages, like going off on me about, I don't even know what. I couldn't even listen to them. And so I started getting like anxiety feeling inside, kind of like what Lewis, my ex-husband, would give me when we were going through our divorce. I would just get so anxiety. I couldn't take it. And I said, listen, you can't do this to me anymore. And I really set my boundaries. And so it's been pretty good with that. We just don't talk very much. I still love her, and I hope that she gets healed and everything's going to be good with that. I mean, same for Lewis. At the end of the day, everything's spiritual. So I don't know what is going on with him, if he's like completely taken over or what, I don't know. But I just hope that everybody gets healed, even people that have done so wrong. So I just wrote down a couple things in case I forget, because I just want to get over with this a little bit. So let's see. I guess what kind of hurt is like when I first met Lewis, I really cared for him. I gave him money. There was a time he lost his job. I took care of him. I paid all the bills. I was emotionally there for him. I took on all his kids, his family, and I even quit school again because I had so much of his life on me. I took it all on. And so I was just there for him so much. And even like his ex-wife, and the reason why I say that I feel like she's a good person is because I could see that she did have a caring heart. She just had some things wrong with her, but then again, she get like anxiety attacks. She said things about Lewis that I was like, huh. But then I noticed that she was correct. And I even, he had said at one point that he kind of wanted it to end. So I don't know if he pushed her to that place. So instead of getting out of it, she ended up just cheating to get out of it. I don't know. But I used to go to like holidays and stuff with the ex-wife and the family I don't know why, because I really love them and I was really there for everybody, and I just wanted to everybody to get along. So like Thanksgivings and stuff, we would all go there, and I don't know if it was him talking to them about me, because I found out at one point, like, he lost his job, so I was paying all the bills. So he asked if we could stay there, and she said yes. So I was giving her pretty much the full money of like their mortgage, and everything I still did there was like wrong, and she just had a problem with everything. And she said to me, you know, you had an abortion, you're going to hell. And it hurt me so bad, because that means he had told her that stuff, and I confided in him, you know, as somebody to like for support, and he was going behind my back talking about me. And you know, they all went to church, and they were like the type of, oh honey, bless your heart, going to church, but then yet we would go over there for like holidays and stuff. And I really wanted to love these people. Like I just wanted peace. And they would be so sweet to me in my face, and then the next room I would hear them saying, oh, I can't stand her, and just stuff like that. And so that was really hard. So once we got a divorce, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I don't have to deal with that anymore. But it's just sad, you know, it's sad. Because I remember even, it was like his brother-in-law or something like that. I even went and like gave him, oh, hey, how you doing? Because I'm a hugger, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm just a hugger. That's about, yeah, I touch and feel or whatever. And he's just like didn't, and it was like, oh, okay. Like just stuff like that. I'm like, man, what the heck? So anyways, but, so yeah, also when I was younger, you know, now reading the Strongholds book, if people out there have not read it, it's a really good book. It talks about, you know, generational curses and what could be happening to you in your bloodline that you don't know about. And I think it was like my great-great-great-grandmother was full-blooded Indian. And so even when I was younger, my friends, I remember we played Ouija boards. Bloody Mary was big back then. We did Bloody Mary. So I was introducing all kinds of stuff into my life. I had no idea. I mean, I don't feel like I was ever overtaken, but I feel like I've probably had every single spirit out there that has attacked me. Like, I just think, I really feel that way. And I've had to fight every single one of them off. So, and it's funny because I've always glorified pastors and people's in that position. I thought they were like angelic beings. And so going through that with Lewis, I think the Lord was probably trying to show me, or, you know, it was a lesson basically that, you know, it doesn't matter what position that you're in, there's good and bad people everywhere. So I remember it was around 2013. I had just had my son, and I was so happy because I had my first baby, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I just love him. This is so amazing. And I was sitting out and just looking at the lake and enjoying the scenery, and he was in my arms, and I was just so happy. Also, I wanted to add, the lady that prophesied that the Lord was going to do something with me, she said, get ready. You're about to go for the biggest roller coaster of your life. And I was like, well, nothing new there. And that was, I think 2008 when she had said this stuff. So I was sitting out there, 2013, around that area, and so happy, just so happy. And then I just felt this overwhelming feeling, something bad's about to happen. And I'm like, oh, okay. So after that, my husband got, ex-husband, he got hepatitis C. And I thought like he was gonna die. I was so worried, you know, that would be, no matter what anybody goes through or anything, you don't want people to die or anything like that. It's scary. So I got a different job. I was doing insurance at the time. I got my insurance license, and then I got a different job so I could get better insurance so he could get healed. And thank goodness he ended up getting healed. He said that he thought he got it from when he had cancer when he was younger. He got healed. He remembers somebody coming in the hospital for him and praying over him. And, you know, he did do the chemo and stuff like that, but he ended up healed from that. That's when he had thought he had got it. But once the Lord started waking me up to my relationship, I found out like he was doing steroids and stuff behind my back. Like I knew he had did it a couple times, but I didn't like it and I didn't want him doing it. And you know, there was things that were kind of being presented to me, and I found like steroid needles and stuff in the trash. So I don't know where he got it from, but anyways, he was healed, and I got a different job to get better insurance. And I was in this new position of this job, so everybody was kind of slow except for me, and I had all this work on me, and it was a new position, so I was like trying to do my best and just trying to do a really good job. And we went on a after you got hepatitis C, like I always drank, and then we would cut it because I competed in a fitness show, and I really limited my alcohol at that point. Like it was only like weekends. I started being more mature with my drinking, not like the younger days where you're just drinking all the time. I started being more mature with my drinking on the weekends, stuff like that. But after I got that feeling something bad's gonna happen, and he got that, we were still having so many issues. I was definitely drinking to the point of where it was becoming a problem. So yeah. So I went on a business trip with my boss for this new position. We went to Tennessee, and after the meeting, everybody was meeting up at, it was someplace, I don't remember exactly what place it was. We were all meeting up after there, and I said, let's walk. I want to walk because it's across the street. She said, we're two girls. I'm not walking. I'll drive. And I'm like, okay, it's right across the street, you know, whatever. So we go there, and we had some drinks, and we had a couple shots. And while we were leaving, she's like, oh man, I'm really wasted. Well, it ended up where I ended up driving. And instead of just going like the back way straight to the hotel, we decided we want burgers from Red Robin. We were gonna go get some food. So as soon as I pull out, whoop, whoop, we get pulled over. It was like raining and freezing. I had like boots on. The cops like, have you guys been drinking? And I said, yes, we had, you know, a little bit to drink. We're from Florida. We're on a business trip. He's like, step out of the car. So I step out of the car. He brings me to the whole test, the sobriety test. And I thought I did pretty good. He's like, I think you should take off your boots. You want to take off your boots? And I'm like, no, I'm good. You know, I'm gonna leave my boots on. Later, come to find out, he's trying to set it up to where you know, there was no doubt that I would be charged with this DUI. And so I thought I did well, and he's like, all right, hands behind your back. Or he wanted to give me a blood test, and I said, I didn't know what he meant. Like, you're not gonna stick me with a needle, no. And he's like, well, I can take your license. And I said, okay. He never took my license. And he arrested me, and my boss came to the car, and she's like, what's going on? And I said, I'm getting arrested. And she's like, I'm like, call my husband, let them know where I'm at. And she's like, I don't have their number. We have the meeting in the morning. And I'm like, seriously? And so she goes back in the car, and she said she doesn't really remember some of it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And the cops were asking me questions. And I was having a little bit of a fit. I'm like, oh, you make money off this? Is this the deal? You're trying to scam us? Like, I was starting to have an attitude. He's like, you better stop. If you know what's good for you, you better stop. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, that's my boss. That's a rental car. I'm on a business trip. He's like, that's your boss? And I was like, yes, you know. And he started getting more of the information, and then he got another cop to come there, and she kept coming to the door. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go to the bathroom, like saying stuff like that. And they ended up arresting her too. I kind of think the cop felt bad for me because she was my boss in the whole situation. And so we both get taken to the jail, and we almost got down to like the holding place, but I guess they had a big like prostitution ring, so there was a bunch of girls in there, and they're like, what, you guys here for prostitution? Like, it was so crazy, so surreal. And our husbands were so mad at us. Obviously, you know, we had to pay all this money to get us out. We did get a lawyer, and we split a lawyer together. And this was one thing that Lewis, he beat me down forever for this, and it caused so much pain. But the DUIs were dropped because they said that everything seemed fine, and he was known as one of the top DUI cops. But, you know, I shouldn't have been drinking and driving anyways. So it's my fault. I can't just say, oh, it's him and he was trying to scam us. And no, it was my fault. Like, you need to wake up and stop drinking so much. So there was that. And then I don't know, I started having a drinking issue. I started being so angry. You know, I couldn't talk to my husband. He wouldn't listen to anything. He wouldn't get help. And then I was like, we got to get a divorce then. Like, if we can't get healthy, we need to get a divorce. And he did not like that at all. So he started just doing stuff like leaving, not coming home. So yeah, he didn't, the Lord, it was funny because like he would accidentally call me and then I would hear him talking about me to clients. And like, he was saying stuff, like he was building his story up because I was saying that I want a divorce. He didn't want a divorce, but yet he didn't want to get help. And so what he was doing is he was going to tell people about my issues. And come to find out, when we were going to court and stuff, he went onto this Christian blog and was saying how crazy I was and getting advice, like mental health advice, and making up stories like that I was abusive to my son and all this stuff. And when we were in court, he's like, wait, I've been trying to get help with her abuse and anger. And I was angry because he would push my buttons and I was drinking and I was just a mess. I was in so much pain. I knew what was going on with the world. Nobody was listening to me. Everybody thought I was crazy and I was just covering it up. I didn't know how to deal with anything. And there was a time where he kind of pushed me down on the floor and then he grabbed my son. And I don't know, my son was in the bathroom or something. I don't know. I ended up punching him. And so I feel really guilty for that because I broke my finger. And, you know, after the fact, he did, like, I had his shirt and he yanked it. And I don't know how it ended up breaking. But after the fact, he's like, you hit like a girl. And like the next day, he's like, that didn't hurt. But I was just so angry. Like, I just kind of reacted. And, you know, we all know that that's spiritual stuff. So it was just, and I remember thinking, I'm like, I'm glad I broke my finger. I'm like, that's what I get. Like, I shouldn't have done stuff. Like, what was I thinking? And it was just like I was just like so angry. And, you know, after that day, he's like, I'm sorry, we're going to get back in church. You know, it's okay. Like, and he would say this stuff, but then it would be like totally toxic and crazy again. So, anyways, I just had enough of the back and forth and say we're going to get back in church and we're going to get healthy and we're going to get better, and then it didn't come to pass, and I just couldn't live like that anymore. I didn't want my son to grow up in an unhealthy relationship. So I asked him, and I thought it was going to be okay. Like, when we separated, I was like, you know, let's work out custody. We can still spend birthdays and stuff together. All the stuff that I did for him and his ex-wife, like going and hanging with the family and doing stuff like that. Like, I thought that, you know, I would get that same respect. And he was not gonna let me leave easy at all. Even trying to like separate phones, anything like that, he would try to sign the paper and then like rip it. He wouldn't talk custody to me. He wasn't coming home. He said that he didn't want a divorce, but it was so unhealthy. And so my grandparents said, we'll loan you the money for an attorney. Well, I don't know. And then I ended up going with somebody they had known. And that ended up turning into another nightmare because this lady, she now has her license taken away. But she basically caused me so much pain between both of them. I was just constantly like attacked, and my drinking was getting worse at that point. And we were in court one day and he's like, wait, I've been getting help for her anger and all her mental issues. Look at all this. And it was a blog like he had wrote and got advice from. And at the end of the day, when I was saying that I wanted a divorce, instead of getting help for me or maybe my issues or him, he was going and he was building a story. He was building a story to make sure it looked like it was me. And unfortunately, a lot of people that knew the both of us, they fell for everything that he said. Like, completely blamed me. He turned everybody against me. You know, just like he did his ex-wife. She's evil, she's crazy. That's all the stuff that he had also told me about his ex-wife. And his last girlfriend also, she had, you know, issues as well, but he said bad things about her. I mean, she took her own life. And it's just unfortunate. And I'm not like blaming him, but they were fighting, and I know how he is, and I don't know. So this attorney that I had got through my grandparents, she was doing shady stuff where he had did some stuff, and when he had pushed me, and I said that that time that I had hit him, and there were some other things that he had did. She goes, no, that's not okay. So she filed a